Hello, my name's Cameron Asgarzadigan and you're watching another television review on Cam's Camera Talk. Today the show is The Flash, Season 2, Episode 2. Spoilers ahead. So I've got a lot to cover but not much time to do it in, so if I do leave anything out or you want to know more about my thoughts on a certain thing that I do talk about, leave a comment and I'll give my certain opinion on it. In this episode we finally get to see what we've theorised about the whole parallel universe things. Jay Garrick says that there has been a breach in sort of the Flash's world, our Flash's world, Barry Allen's world, where Jay Garrick and Zoom have come in, and Zoom is bringing sort of villains from that universe and world to ours to fight our version of the Flash. It's a really cool concept and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with it throughout this season. We get to learn a lot more about Jay Garrick and he's a really good character. The Flash just establishes such good characters, and Jay Garrick, you can tell that he's just going to be another one of those. We get to learn a lot more about him in the fact that he was the Flash on this parallel world. They're calling it Earth 2, I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But he was the Flash on this world and he was battling with Zoom. We saw a flashback of him fighting with Zoom on the night when the Singularity opened, and what I loved about that scene was right at the end you see his hat fly off into the wormhole, and that links into what happened at the end of season 1 when his hat flew through the wormhole into our world. I mean, it just flowed so lovely. Jay Garrick is a really likeable character though, a really likeable guy, very much like Barry Allen's version of the Flash. We get to hear a little bit more about Zoom and we actually get to see him, and his voice is so awesome. The thing which shocked me a little bit about this was, in last week's review I touched on the fact that Professor Zoom in the comics is Hunter Zolomon, but it doesn't really look like they're going down that route. It looks like they're focusing more on the Black Flash. If you don't know who the Black Flash is, he is the personification of death in the Speed Force. He is a speedster's version of the Grim Reaper. Another thing which sort of backs that up is the way Jay Garrick actually explains him. I've got the quote here. Jay Garrick says, "Zoom is an unstoppable demon with a face of death." Yeah, so whether they go down the Hunter Zolomon route with Professor Zoom or the Black Flash route, it really doesn't matter because both characters are very good. We get to see Paddy Spiver in this episode, and she is a character from the comics. When she first came into the episode, I'm not going to lie, I found her presence to be a little bit overwhelming, a little bit annoying. But as the episode goes on, you just grow to like her as a character. I liked her reasoning for wanting to be on the task force. It also gives us a reason to see more of Mark Martin, who is the Weather Wizard in Season 1. He was a good character then. Yeah, so Martin Stein explains the multiverse a little bit more. So you've got Earth 1, which is the one we're watching with Barry Allen. Then you've got Earth 2. That's indicative of the comics. And that is the world that has Jay Garrick and Zoom. But Martin Stein goes on to say, oh yeah, there could be an Earth 3 and an Earth 4 and an Earth 5. They all have versions of us, but all different versions of us. And that's really cool. I mean, it shows that there are just an infinite amount of directions that this show can go in. It's endless. I like that we see that Barry has a little bit of trust issues coming off of Harrison Wells. I mean, something like that would majorly affect you to judge people, even if people are being very nice. I mean, Harrison Wells was a mentor to Barry for so long, so he was obviously going to be sceptical of Jay Garrick. But it's nice that they touched on that, they didn't dwell on it, and they moved past it. And it was nice to see the relationship growing between Barry Allen and Jay Garrick. I mean, Jay Garrick's sort of like becoming a father figure to him, you know, he calls him kid a lot. The big villain in this episode was Sun Demon, and the way his name was introduced was absolutely hilarious. Cisco, for me, is probably the funniest character on a TV show at the moment. He just brings such humour with him. Sun Demon was a pretty cool character as well, but it's a lot like episode 1, where it wasn't really important about the villain. It was just important that someone was there to oppose Barry Allen so that he could learn something new. But it was more about the characters and them growing and the whole season storyline progressing. That was the most important thing for this episode. We get to see more of Cisco's meta-human powers, so he is Vibe, and I think this is going to pave the way for him actually becoming a vital part of sort of Barry's fighting team. So he's going to be the means to which Barry is going to find these bad guys. I mean, he's going to actually be really useful apart from being a great scientist. I mean, in season 1 he was just there to build things, but in season 2 he's actually going to be getting involved and really helping Barry on a physical level get the bad guys. There was a little shout out to Blackgate in there, and Blackgate is a prison in Gotham City. As far as I'm aware, Gotham hasn't been mentioned in any of the seasons of Arrow or the season of The Flash, so this is the first time it's sort of been hinted at. In the first season of The Flash, season 1, we had a little Easter egg which sort of on the newspaper in the future it had Queen and Wayne sort of come together. So that was a little Easter egg for Batman, but we've not really had an Easter egg for Gotham. We've had one for Bloodhaven. The Flash learns a new skill in that he can now throw lightning, and it was a really cool concept, and the way he pulls it off is really cool as well. It shows that he's just learning. I mean, even though he's had a full season of being the Flash, and really his power is that he can run fast, and that's it. It shows that there's so many things that he can learn and so many things that he can do. I mean, the really cool thing in season 1 was when he runs through the truck, you know, he vibrates his molecules so that he can just run straight through objects. He's just learning more and more about being this superhero, and it's really cool to sort of go on this journey with him. Joe's story concludes in that a mystery woman comes to see him, and that she is Iris's mother. This was obviously going to happen because they are introducing Wally West into this show. I thought they were going to make us wait until like mid-season to get Wally West, but no, it looks like we're getting him sooner than I thought. Maybe episode 4 or 5, maybe even next week. If, like me, you grew up with the Justice League TV show and Justice League Unlimited, then you will be aware of Wally West. Wally West was the Flash in that show, you know, the one with Martian Manhunter. They've changed the Justice League over time and they've changed the character as well. In the New 52, Wally West is an African American man, so he used to be white, but now he's black. It isn't an important change though, it doesn't change anything about the character. The only thing which does change about the character is the costume. During the episode they try to find out where the wormhole was opened, and by the end they realise that it's not in one location. It's in 52 of them. Anyone who's been a fan of DC for long enough will know that they went through a change recently, which was called the New 52. The new era of DC comics and properties that we're living in now is called the New 52. So I believe this shout out of 52 sort of wormholes being opened is such a shout out for that. It also means that we have the ability to have 52 meta-humans come from this other planet. So Jay Garrick and Zuma 2, we have Atom Smasher and Sand Demon as well, so that's 4 we've only had, so there's 48 other options of meta-humans that we can still explore. At the end of the episode, Martin Stein collapses, and it is cheating a little bit, but in a trailer I have seen that he becomes Firestorm again. So I'm assuming that they're probably going to bring in Jason Rush. They're going to talk about his research a little bit on the Firestorm. Them two studied it together, and they're probably going to become Firestorm again. As if the episode wasn't awesome enough at this point, we get the title pop up, The Flash, then it cuts away and we have another scene. It's from a parallel universe, and all of a sudden these people are walking, having a sort of a tour of Star Labs, and then all of a sudden this woman's like, "You're in for a treat today, kids. Here he is," and then all of a sudden steps out of the elevator. It's Harrison Wells! Harrison Wells is back! I was more excited than the kids taking the tour to see him, but if you've seen my season 1 review, I absolutely adored Tom Cavanagh's performance of Harrison Wells in this. I'm so glad that he's going to be back. I doubt they'll make him Zoom, but it is a possibility that they will make him the bad guy again. Where I think they're going with this is Martin Stein obviously has to leave when he becomes Firestorm to join Legends of Tomorrow. So there's going to be that sort of spot opens up for this sort of mentor, great scientist, Q Harrison Wells. I think in this season we're actually going to get Harrison Wells join Barry's fighting team. Not the Reverse Flash, sort of Eobard Thawne. We're actually going to get Harrison Wells somehow come from this parallel world to help Flash and Barry Allen. In terms of an episode, I thought this was absolutely fantastic. I loved every second of it. This was a statement to show that The Flash is still the best show on TV. Anyway, if you've liked what I've brought for you today, feel free to like, comment and subscribe. Also follow me on Twitter at Cam's Camera Talk. There's a link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you later. massive wormhole is if they go up there and sort of sacrifice themselves because science.